And three, two, one, boom. We are back with another episode of Socratic Gamers. This is your Socratic dialogue, where we talk about something cool that we thought was cool from the week. I was thinking about the original intro. You know, 4 things we thought were cool from the week, but like no, we just switched it to 1 now. If you're keeping up, we posted the online sessions number 6 and 7 because those are pretty good. I'm actually quite enjoying those. I don't know about you, but yeah, I really like it. Okay. I like it because there's no like set topic. We just like chill and then like talk about whatever, you know, or just like watch each other play video games. But yeah, so so this topic for the week is probably going to be, I don't know if, like, I guess a quick caveat. I only recently got into like hip hop / rap music since university, I'd say. Because remember when we were kids, like I really despised hip hop and rap music. Like remember like actually I don't know if you remember, but like Sunshine and like our other friends, they'd always like watch like 106 in Park. You too, like you liked hip hop rap.
Yeah, that's what I mainly grew up to.
I was like the only one that liked the emo screamo rock music. You know what I mean? I always put that on, and I just thought it was like kind of funny. Like primarily the reason why I thought it was kind of funny to listen to that is because like we went to like a black Filipino high school, so like everybody was into like rap music.
I see.
You know what I mean? And I was kind of like anti-establishment. Well, I guess I still am kind of anti-establishment-ish. So like I chose not to like get into that.
Right.
I also thought it was kind of weird because like everyone was like, it was like very gang oriented.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like everyone's like wearing like do-rags and like bandanas, and then people would like they talk about like shooting things up, and I always thought that was kind of dumb. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And then like it wasn't until university where I started to get into it because of like Jay-Z, and like he's honestly, I always attribute like rap music, like 50 Cent and Jay-Z were the two icons that really helped me with business school. Like in terms of like mindset, and like there's like a lot you could learn about like the dope game and how like that related heavily to like marketing.
Right.
You know what I mean? But like you didn't, like, I guess nobody really put that together, but like they would say that like hip hop, like 50 Cent and Jay-Z, like they'd use like modern business tactics while they were like selling on the street. It had all the principles were the same.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like competitors, market share, setting your price points. You know what I mean? Like what's your supply demand? What's your how your operations are going to be run?
Right.
You know, and all that. But yeah, that's my story. That's my introduction to how I got into hip hop. What about you?
Would you
call it, rap or hip hop?
I guess both. I don't know. It's difficult. I don't know.
I guess like hip hop's like a genre, like a beat style, and then like rap is like the technique. Because you can rap without beats. You know, there's like rap battles. It was a cappella. Yeah. So like maybe that's the difference. I don't know. But anyways, yeah. So how'd you get into like hip hop rap?
I don't remember how I got into hip hop rap, but the first album I got was Eminem.
Okay, so maybe that's like it was just because that was the first album you got. So you're like, what drew you into Eminem?
I can't remember. It's been so long ago. I don't remember why.
Oh, okay. I wonder if it's like because he was so different, like being like a white rapper.
Maybe, but even at that time, I remember like not really knowing much about music though.
True. Yeah. Maybe it was just like the like shock value of like
what he talked
real
about.
Slim Shady.
Yeah, but it was like what he was saying was like not something people would normally say.
Right. Do you remember the first album at all? Like listening to it and like what you thought of it?
What I thought about it? I liked it. I don't remember specifics.
Like I remember listening to it as well because my sister's really into like hip hop rap music, right. So she bought those albums and I bought like Blink-182 and stuff. But I should like when I'd listened to it, I was like, oh, it's pretty good. But I don't know. There was just something about there's something about like the style of it that like I didn't like. I don't know. Like I guess because like rock music's more about like teen angst. You know what I mean?
I
Like
guess so.
liking
Yeah, yeah,
girls
yeah,
and stuff.
yeah, yeah.
And then like rap music's more about like adult things, and like I just wasn't into that. You know. Oh, interesting fact. I got really good at like being able to differentiate what people were saying in terms of like accents and stuff because of rap music. Because you had to like, I remember when I first heard rap music, I couldn't understand what they were saying because it was so fast.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. I remember that. Yes.
And then my brain
Yeah.
had to like learn how to listen quickly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, so these were things that happened like as a kid.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that I liked rap music, but like,
Yeah.
because it was in the car, it's like, okay, what is he saying? So I had to like pick up these techniques and stuff. Yeah, it's interesting that like, because you know like Tara can't understand like accents at all, and I can hear it because I'm like, oh no, like a lot of these rappers they speak in different
Right.
like ways of talking.
Yeah.
And I find that like with like hip hop rap music, it really pushed culture forward in terms of like the way we would say things like slang. You know, like, but I thought it was so dumb at the time, though. That's the thing. Like, I saw it always happening. Like, all my friends would be like, "Yo, let's Dipset," and I'm like, "Okay, but that's like the name of the rap group." But it meant like, "Let's go."
Right.
At the same time.
Yeah.
You know, and like, yeah, just stuff like that. Like, I always thought that stuff was like really corny.
Oh,
you
I
know?
see.
But
Yeah,
then it kind of became like, oh no, that's like some secret lexicon that only certain people know. You know what I see? I see it as like being able to differentiate dialects. You know, like I use like big words, but then at the same time, I can understand what like a rap song is saying because I just see them as like different languages almost.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like it still trips me out because of the eclecticness of listening to different music, and I think this is like why music's so cool, is like when I go to like the skate shop to go buy something, like I revert to my skate roots and I'll like talk to them in skate like style. And then if you go to like a you know sports, what are the sports stores like where you buy like the Nike store or something,
Yeah.
and then it's like,
Oh, right.
like then you go to like urban, and then it's like, okay, then you gotta address them in a different way, you know what I mean? It's like it's weird how it's like different cultures,
Yeah.
you know, and like music allowed you to like break through those barriers and like jump into different ways of life, I guess.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know, what are your thoughts on hip-hop rap before I start like deconstructing it?
I mean, so the thing with rap when I started, I think because I think that the words were not easy to catch right away. I think that's probably why I focus more on beats.
Okay.
I think that's probably
that makes
how it
sense. Yeah.
happened. Like I'm more focused on beats and versus the lyrics itself.
Because we even did that before too. Remember, like you would make beats and then I would play like guitar over them.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
and you would like write songs using like your piano, and then the piano would be like a trigger.
Yeah.
For like beats and stuff.
Right.
Yeah, you were really into beats before.
Yeah. I still am.
Yeah, even still. Yeah, still now. If it's not like catchy to you, like that's why you didn't like the Damn CD.
Yeah.
Because you're like, oh, the beats are basic, but like I'm more of a lyricist.
Exactly.
So like but that's also why I really like rappers. Like when you're like, I find it ingenious to be able to take words that are paired so well. So like one of the reasons why like I get like a lot of compliments for the way I write, you know, but I always attribute that to like my analysis of rap music, because they take words and they make it flow in a way that it's like it's easy for you to understand. Because like I've read so many books, right, and like all of those books are like, you can get through some really dry ones, you know, you're like, man, why did you write it like this? But it's like it's too academic, or it's like the cadence with which you're like writing is so like disjoint that I'm having a hard time reading it, you know. But then you get like really good authors that have like a rap style flow, and it's like when they're writing, it's simple for me to, even if they're using big words, it's simple for me to like read quickly because the cadence and the word choices are like conducive to like being able to read it well.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like Osho is really good like his writing is like, oh, that's a great way to write it because he's like writing as if he's talking to you.
Mm-hmm.
But it turns out those are like transcriptions. I didn't know that he didn't actually write those.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which makes sense though, because I was like, oh, the way you're writing, it's like very like colloquial, you
right?
know? And like I think that rap music really made me appreciate words, you know. And they would say things like, I think you told me this, like Tupac read the entire dictionary, or was it Eminem? He read the whole dictionary,
something like that. Yeah.
And then like hip hop artists, they would like read a lot because like they had to educate themselves. And like being able to be like linguistically talented, you have to know a bunch of words and how you can put those words together.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Like I think like to me, with the words were part of the beat.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Right. So like that was the flow that I liked. Like when you can.
Oh, okay. So do you like do you like Drake at all? Because
No.
I find that with him, like I don't really know, except for his newest album, Scorpion was really good, but like his old albums, it's like you weren't really talking about anything like too deep,
Right.
you know. So like a lot of your music, your words were used to make beats, you know, not in the same way. Like I was watching the masterclass thing, and like Timbaland, he makes his beats starting with his mouth, and then he'll add layers to it.
Right.
Not in terms of like that, but I mean like the lyric choices and like the way he's phrasing things and singing them.
Yeah.
Like, they make it sound like you're listening to a beat track. You know. Yeah.
I just like I don't know. It just I wasn't focused on the word, but even with Drake, I didn't. There might be some songs I like, but I don't generally like his songs.
Is it because of like? So that's the interesting part too. Okay, so now
Maybe I don't like the flow that he brings to it.
or him as a person. So like I was watching Vince Staples, his interview, and he was saying how like for music, like I thought this was really ingenious the way he like put it together. If you go to like Walmart and you see the images in the picture frames, right, that are already there, somebody took those photos, right?
Yeah.
And we consider them a photographer, but at the same time they're not like a renowned photographer. They're not like a Joey L. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like he's saying there's levels to art, right?
Right.
But there's no levels to music art. We only have the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Right.
And that's it. So like what rappers have to do is, in order to make it look like they're important, make it look like their music is worth something, they have to look like they're rich.
Right.
It's like, oh, he's making a lot of money, so his music must be good, right? It has nothing to do with the art. It has all to do with perception.
Right.
That's another thing I really liked about rap music. It's like a lot of it is perception based, which is marketing, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, like, because like, I know a lot of people don't like Drake simply because he was like an actor. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, maybe, like, did that taint you in any way? That he was like
No,
an actor?
I don't think it was the actor. I just didn't find his music appealing to me, I guess.
True. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Like, he has some hits, but like,
Yeah, there are
on
hits
the
that I do
whole,
like, yeah. But like overall,
like, I
not
don't
someone
know. The
I
only
look forward to
album-
listen to.
Yeah. And the only albums that I can think of that I can listen like from start to finish, there's probably like 3 of them. The Take Care album.
Yeah, okay. I don't remember albums other than from Eminem mainly.
But
Like I don't remember
yeah.
other people's.
Full bodies of work.
Yeah.
I find that like concept albums are like the ones that you can always go back to. You know, like who's a good concept? Logic's got a lot of good concept albums, but I don't think you listen to Logic, right?
No.
So like there are certain like.
But I don't even know about Logic. Only from you, I learned about Logic.
Yeah, I think that was an accident. I found out about Logic though.
Right.
But anyways, so like I like those albums that they have like a clear storyline, and it takes you from the beginning to the end of the album as if it were like a movie.
Right.
And I think that's super ingenious because it's like it's not just a bunch of random songs put together. It's like you're trying to tell a narrative. You know, a lot of musicians started doing that though. Like Queen did that. They have concept albums. Concept albums are like really big in the rock world.
What does that mean?
Concept album?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just said it. It's like it takes you from start to finish. It's like a narrative.
Oh, like that.
Like it's like a storyline.
Isn't it kind of like Eminem's sort of?
I don't.
Like I mean, or his song. Like the thing I think what I liked about Eminem's one was because he had stories in each song.
Right. But all right, so there's a concept for a song, and a concept album is they have the entire CD is like a story. Like you have to listen to it to get the full story.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Whereas like Eminem's, he's got concept songs where it's like this one song deals with this one song deals with this, but like in Logic's, I forgot the name, An Incredible True Story. It's the story of like two people on a spaceship, and they're looking for the new Earth. So like it starts off as like I think you might actually like it.
I might like that because that does.
So
I didn't even
sick.
know that.
Oh really?
Yeah, I did not know
it's
that.
a thing. There's Kendrick Lamar does that kind of stuff.
Oh,
that's why I really like Kendrick Lamar.
I see.
Like those are the musicians that I'm like, wow, I can listen to the whole. So like it's that album starts off with like an intro, and then it's like a dialogue between two people, and then the songs are playing out the movie.
Okay.
Yeah, it's so sick. Oh wow, I just introduced
I didn't know that. I didn't.
Oh
know
yeah,
that.
I think you'll really like it.
Oh.
Because like you can listen to one individual song, you're like, oh, this is a really good song. But if you listen to it in its entirety from start to finish, you're like, oh, this is a genius album.
Right.
You know, like there's like hits obviously, but like to take you from start to finish, it's like you're shaping an idea in my mind.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
But it started with like Queen and stuff, like they would do that kind of thing.
Okay.
But then like so now let's get into the actual dissection of hip hop or rap music. So it all really got famous through NWA, right? Like obviously there's like origins of it, but I mean like the ones that put it really on the map was NWA. Gangster rap started with NWA. And if you watch Straight Outta Compton, the movie, like you'll see where it came from. That's where Dr. Dre came from. That's where Ice Cube came from. But I think the only one that really like made it big was Dr. Dre. Like Ice Cube started making movies. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
But like Dr. Dre's actually in the music scene. I think they said he was the first like hip hop billionaire because of all of his investments and stuff. But so if you actually dissect what it is they're talking about on Straight Outta Compton, the reason why it was so iconic is because it had a message.
Yeah.
Right? It was talking about the struggles of like African Americans in America and like what they had to deal with, right?
Yeah.
And it put a face to their struggle, and at the same time it made it accessible, whereas like Caucasians who didn't know about this, they could like get educated on the topics at hand while also like listening to a really good song.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then but like hip hop, because of where it started, which was like it was funded by drug money, right? Because like these people from the streets, the only way they're gonna have like studio time is by selling like drugs.
Yeah.
Right? Which is like illegal, and like you get into like gangsterness, and that's why hip hop has like it's been associated with like gangster culture. You know, and that's why NWA making their first album about gangster culture, it was very like eye-opening to the general public, because like there was no internet, so like coming out with that, you're like, wait, what? That's happening over there? You're being like abused by the police? Like we saw it on the news, but like to really like, and that's where like you got introduced to like lingo.
Yeah.
Right? You know the term swole?
Yeah.
So swole came from it's like an urban term.
Yeah.
It was used in Straight Outta Compton.
Oh.
In F the Police, it was still getting swole off bread and water. And when I heard that, I was like, oh wait, I thought that was new. So like we in today's society, like we use these terms that we don't even understand where they originally came from. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's like, or these like memes, and like if you understood where they came from, you'd have respect for them. But like that's kind of how we are as a general society. We don't know where things came from, like not in terms of hip hop alone, but like history.
Right.
Or like how do we get computers? You know, and like things have been being said, like nothing's new. That's what I find.
Yeah.
Like,
It gets
now-
surfaced or
and the struggles are always the same.
Yeah.
You know, like I hear the same conversations about people who are currently in university as I was having while I was in university. You know, it's like, no, like, yeah, the teachers never cared. Yeah, they bell curve. Yeah, it's so difficult. It's like blah blah blah. You know, it's always the same narrative. You know, and they think it's new.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Just like when you heard swole, it's like still getting swole off bread and water. When I heard that, I was like, oh, I thought that was a new term, but it's not a new term.
No. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so like when you go back to that, I'm like, wow, I really appreciate Straight Outta Compton. It's not like musically, it's not as good as today's, I would say. Like obviously, it still holds itself up. It's like a good video game that you want to go back to.
I see.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like even this game we're playing right now, this could have been like a Super Nintendo game.
Yeah.
And you're still like, oh, it's still cool because it holds its merit as like a artistic piece.
Right.
Right. And then from there, like you get like Biggie and Tupac, which you did a whole project on Tupac.
Yeah.
In school. Is there a reason why you like Tupac versus Biggie?
I think it's just because I learned more about Tupac, about his story, his upbringing, and
like his parents are Black Panther, or his mom is.
Yeah.
Like these are real struggles.
Yeah,
you know, this is like very honest truth, and like that, like me getting into like 50 Cent and like Jay-Z as my first real like obsessions with hip hop.
Yeah.
I actually have to say it was probably 50 Cent's Get Rich or Die Trying album. All his other albums after that, like I couldn't listen to, but like that one album, I like obsessively listened to that because that was the encompassing of business.
Yeah.
For me.
Right.
You know. Anyways, so like those are like real truths, right? That they're actually saying in the thing, and then now you're getting a lot of like empty rap. You know what I'm saying? Like they're repeating things. Like Kanye West was another big one. Like he was a rapper trying to say things that like really mattered. But then what's really big right now currently is like music that's not even good lyrically. It's just sonically it's really good.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Which has more appeal to me though.
Which does have more appeal to you.
Yeah.
And it's like what I find is like so like sonically versus like lyrically, right? So the people that were talking about real things, they always backed up what they were saying. Like
right.
These people, like 50 Cent got shot up, but he had the life experience to bring these things out. But then in a modern society where it's like we don't condone like anti-gay stuff or like like all this, or like drive-by shooting, it's not cool anymore, right? But like to have somebody talk about that stuff and not like back it up, then it just seems very empty. It's like these are just words to you now,
right?
Do you know what I'm saying? But it's like, it makes sense in the tune, right? You're like, oh,
Okay,
I'll make a lot of money,
right?
I'm gonna shoot you up and like all this stuff. But then like you hear, like in person, these people would never do any of these things because they'd be too afraid, right? It's like they're not living the life, so why are you talking about that? But it's because you're piggybacking off of an idea which was once created, and now you're not paying true respect to it by just mimicking what was popular at the time.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like what's his name, Charlemagne, I was listening to his talk on this, and like he was asked like, what do you think about Lil Wayne's bus getting shot up, right? And he's like, oh, I'm glad that happened. And then the person's like, wait, what? You're like condoning this? He's like, no, I'm glad somebody finally did something, because you hear about all this talk all the time, but like you never back it up. So it's like, so then why are you gonna rap about it? You know what I'm saying? It's like, unless you're actually living the life experience, why are you talking about things you don't really know about? You know?
Right. Yeah.
Right. And I think truly paying homage to what hip hop is understanding what the medium is. It was a platform for people to speak out about what's really going on in life.
Yeah.
Ingenious, right? And then now it's transformed. Like, I feel like you can't even call hip hop and rap what it is today, because it's like you're not really doing it.
Right.
You're just like, you're mimicking a tone,
Yeah.
but you're not actually using the medium how it was intended to be used in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the mind blow, what got me. So I'm really into like, I don't really like J. Cole's music. Sonically, it's not good for me, but like he's talking about like a lot of real things.
Okay.
Kendrick Lamar, love him sonically and lyrically.
Mm-hmm.
Vince Staples, sonically, lyrically, love that guy. These are like the new school rappers, right? But what are they talking about? They're not talking about gangster stuff. They are, like Kendrick Lamar is, because he experienced it, but like the whole idea is you have to move past that stuff.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I think that's what true hip hop is. I feel like true hip hop are those things, but what they label them as is backpack rappers. They call them like conscious rap.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it's like, but if you actually look at like NWA, that was conscious rap because that was real. Those are real topics.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's weird how we label it now as like conscious rap, but it's like, no, that's actual rap.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Whereas like what
or they're getting actual. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Mind
Like that
blow.
was the origin of rap or hip hop, but then but they're, I guess they're like more like they're like having a more of a subcategory in a sense.
Right. And
Like it's become like a norm that it's not.
it's a bastardization.
Right.
It's sort of like so martial arts.
Yeah.
So in the beginning, martial arts was meant to kill people.
Right.
And then they were like, okay, we're gonna like we want people to compete now. So like we have to do away with all the kill moves.
Right.
Right. So it's like, okay, so you're not really paying homage to what martial arts actually was. You should call it something else.
Yeah.
It's like sports now. You're not really learning how to fight.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like hip hop's. It's not. I don't really consider it true hip hop. Because this is like a concept I recently got onto because I was listening to all these like interviews and like listening to their songs and stuff. I'm like, why do I gravitate towards like NWA is like the old one, or like Kendrick Lamar, Vince Staples, J. Cole, not his music, his interviews. It's because they're talking about real things.
Right.
Jay-Z talking about real things. 50 Cent talking about real things.
Yeah.
It's not gangster rap. It's like conscious rap.
Yeah. It's basically what happened in their life, though, right? But
That's exactly.
And
then now you have these like SoundCloud rap. They call them SoundCloud rappers, right? Because they're like talking about these things that they don't really have. Like, I'm gonna get this Bentley. It's like, bro, like, why even? So like, this is the crazy part. So if you listen to like the interviews with Kendrick Lamar, Vince Staples, like they'll say like, because like when they started out they were young, right? So they were talking about like gangster stuff, right?
Okay.
That's all they knew. And then now it's like changing, and then a lot of people are like, oh, you should go back to that gangster stuff, right? And they're like, so I can be back on the street, which is what I was trying to leave in the first place. Now I'm trying to educate all of you to get out of this, because like you don't need to be out here shooting people up. Makes no sense.
Right.
You know, like, why do we need to fight each other?
Right.
You know, and like all this money stuff, right? Like in their interviews, they're like, oh, do you ball out? It's like, I love this one. So like a lot of like rappers will be like, oh, I ball out, right? Like I spend a lot of money, and it's like, but why are you spending that money? It makes no sense. Like back in the day, like with NWA,
Yeah.
they would ball out because like they were drug dealers, so
Right.
like, you made a lot of money, right? But it's like, but you're balling out to make it look like you were more successful than you are. It goes back to that thing about like, it's not really about the art anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So they were asking like Kendrick Lamar and like Vince Staples. Vince Staples is my favorite because he keeps it 100 all the time. So he's like, they're like, oh, do you ball out? Do you spend your money? I'm like, nah, man, I'm too cheap. They're like, what do you spend your money on? Mortgages, rent payments, I got car notes I gotta pay. And I was like, damn, bro, that is like real right there.
Right.
So if you listen to their music, it has nothing to do with balling out.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's like, but and we call this conscious backpack rap.
Right.
But it's
right.
not. It's like, no, this is real rap in hip hop. It's not about the money. It's not about the gimmicks. It's about like poetically and lyrically providing a lesson for the next generation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's no different than blogs, this podcast, those online sessions. We're just sharing knowledge. And that's what hip hop rap is. And that's actually why I stopped listening to like rock and roll music, like punk rock and like post hardcore. I'll still like get into it because like certain bands are really good, but no band, I haven't found any band that has like educated me while I've been listening to it. But like I've been educated while I've been listening to like Vince Staples, Kendrick Lamar,
Right.
Jay-Z.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Fascinating.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's just not like.
Tupac too. Conscious backpack rapper.
Yeah, that's why I like Tupac. Yeah, I conscious. Yeah,
It's
I guess
not. It's not. Like,
I know.
like,
I know.
oh, you're a
I
rapper,
know.
but it's like no. But this is like I love that people termed it conscious backpack rap, and it's like that's literally we're just sharing knowledge. Like Brenda's Got a Baby, that song.
Yeah.
No, he's talking about those are real things, man.
Yeah.
People do get pregnant, they hide it, they have the baby in the bathroom, they throw the baby out.
Yeah.
You know, people are like, oh man, this is so woke. Like that's why I love people today. They're like, oh.
I mean, that's why
Tupac.
I think that's why I like Tupac a lot. Like that was the topics he talked about were pretty intense.
Yeah.
At the time, yeah.
And like I love how people now, like this is mind blow if you watch that. What was that show, the Tupac Biggie, where they caught the murderer?
Oh man, I forgot the name. But yeah.
So like in that show, I didn't know that they were 23 years old. That's a baby, bro.
They were young, yeah.
Like what are you gonna do at 23 years old? What life experience? But they were just talking about their experiences.
Yeah.
So it's like, what do you mean what life experiences? No, I just went through this. I'm telling you about it.
Mm-hmm.
I tell you not to do this. This is craziness.
Yeah, that's exactly what they're trying to say, yeah.
And then you get now people are like, oh, dude, that guy was like ahead of his time. He was so woke. And like, no, he was just telling you. That's why.
Well, see, the thing is,
but hold on.
okay.
But that's why I loved their interviews because they educated themselves
Mm-hmm.
to provide a message. Real, conscious, woke, actual hip hop rap music. They educate themselves and they share what they've learned. So, like in this interview, Tupac was talking about the Vatican, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, like
I remember that interview.
they just keep all their money there, and like and people were like, oh man, what are you talking about? Like you're like ripping the Vatican. You shouldn't do that because like Catholicism, all this stuff. And he's like, no, like that's where all the money is.
Mm-hmm.
But then I went to the Vatican personally, and I saw it, and I was like, oh, he was right.
Yeah.
He was just educating us or other people on what he knew about the world. It was the truth.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like when people say like, it's like it just all that shows me is how empty we are as a society. If you're glorifying people that talk about the truth, then it's like, why? It just shows how dumb you actually are. Like people are like, oh man, you know a lot. No, I'm telling you like it is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just showing you that nobody wants to know what's really going on. We'd rather be asleep. And then the people that do want to know what's going on, that tell you what's going on, they're glorified as something being more. And it's like, we don't need to glorify these people. They're
Right.
doing what you're supposed to do. Educate
Yeah.
yourself and build yourself a better future than what once was.
Right.
You know? Sorry, you're going to say something?
I don't remember what I was gonna say.
Yeah, so that's really why I really like hip hop and rap. It's like it's not about the tones.
Oh no, yeah, I do remember now. But I guess like that's how hip hop started or rap
That's how it
started.
started.
I know, but then it's like you don't know sometimes what the end, like where it will go in the future, right? So it just happened to be like so that became like a cool thing in culture.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Right? So then people started just doing that as a method, as just to like
Stay cool.
stay cool, right? Like except then they had to categorize these different things as conscious rap and whatnot, right?
Yeah.
Because I think, but it's like you don't know where it will end up going, right? It just like
Right.
like the-
But that's what I'm saying. It's like it's just a statement about our society. It's like
Yeah.
our society just doesn't want these things. They glorify these things because they don't do these things.
yeah,
Think about what a venerated person is. Like we glorify people. Like the reason why we love The Rock is because he's doing the things that we wish we would do, but we don't do. If everyone was waking up at 5 a.m. to get to work and like work out and like
Yeah.
spread a positive message, he wouldn't be special.
yeah,
You know, if everyone was doing what they're supposed to do, we wouldn't have celebrities. It goes back to like what J. Cole said. Like in the future, I don't think people will be celebrities. I thought it was because like through access, we can all do the same things that celebrities would do. But if we had like an actual enlightened society, like everyone's like, oh, I want to create an enlightened society, then educate yourself first. You don't need to create anything. You just need to educate yourself on what's really going on, because through your education, you'll spread that naturally. Like, somebody asked me a question and I was like, no, you're wrong, it's this, and they're like, oh shoot, I never thought of it like that. It's like, yeah, I just educated myself on it. Like, so I didn't need to change you, I just need to share my opinion when you asked.
Right.
When you asked. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, be the change you seek. That's what the primary goal is of hip-hop music and rap. You know, they say it was birthed out of struggle, and it was, because there's like a lot of craziness, you know, that they had to go through. But the craziness isn't the point. The medium is the more important than the message. The medium is telling the truth. The message was, oh, I was poor. But it doesn't matter what it is you change the message as being, you know? It matters, like, that you're using the medium correctly. It's like a superpower, you know? And, like, you're abusing your powers, Spider-Man.
Right. Yeah. I mean, but I guess now we can, I guess there's positives. I mean, I know what you mean, like dividing it up, but then now it's more easier to find the... Totally.
But you're right, positives, but the problem is miseducation. If you have people like using the power, the superpower of like lyrical skills and like, you know, good beats, like attractiveness to a younger generation, you're misusing the power because you're educating them improperly. And that's why I think you have a lot of people in society now that like want, everyone in society should be like, no, I gotta pay my bills, I gotta live, you know, pragmatically, can't waste my time out here, I'm like gonna die soon. You know, these are things that conscious backpack rappers talk about. But then if you look at like, you know, there are countless people with their faces tattooed and their color and their hair, like obviously I'm speaking about a specific someone, but like then everyone's like, oh man, I gotta like, it's all about, you know, making a statement and like speaking my mind, and like, but in an ignorant way, you know what I'm saying? It's like you're glorifying the wrong things here. Yeah. And that's why I'm like, you're misusing your power, because it's like, but that's why J. Cole's a genius. He brought those, they call them like, you know, like SoundCloud rapper, mumble rap, right? So like J. Cole had his opener as a mumble rapper, and I can't remember who the person was, but they're like, oh, why'd you pick that person to be your opener? Like, don't you know that you guys have conflicting messages? He's like, no, this is like what the youth want today, right? And I'm like, that's genius. You get them through the door with what they want, but then you leave them with what's important.
Right. That's pretty good.
Right? Friggin' genius. Yeah. And like, there's a guy, 21 Savage. I only listen to one song, the one with J. Cole on it, because like not into him. But he's in that whole like mumble rap category, right? But like his song with J. Cole is very woke. I was like, you're talking about some real things on here. That's why I like listen to it, you know? And like, but see, you're influencing a generation not by forcing them to change, but by being the change you seek. If you're a woke rapper out there and you're like, oh, I want to influence the generation, then it's like, okay, then make your stuff catchy. It doesn't matter if you have the truth, you know? It matters who's going to listen to you, you know? Which I find the clever thing is about like the Socratic gamer thing is like, we're playing video games, so it's like, but we're talking about real things. So it's like you're looking at the superficial. We got you in the door with the superficial. Like, what game are you playing? Oh, that's a cool game. I play that game too. But it's like, but what are you gonna leave with?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. True.
Do you have anything more like heavy before I just talk about something like superficial and light?
No.
So what I found really interesting, and you should definitely check this out if you're listening to it, the Behind the Boards playlist. So like a bunch of producers, it's sort of like Elton John. Like Elton John wrote none of his songs, but he created the tune, the melody, and he sang them, right? And like, it's sort of like these producers, it's like they they didn't write this, they're not executing, but they're the ones who created it. They crafted it.
Yeah.
And like, I think that's cool with like Apple Music now. Like you can get behind the boards and like you can download specific playlists with those producers. So like Timbaland, Pharrell, and Dr. Dre are the ones I'm listening to right now. Oh, Pharrell was another one that was just like that, like another conscious rapper, and like he wasn't necessarily being conscious about it, but his energy, right? He was Skateboard P.
Oh,
remember that? Like he didn't
no.
like. All right, so when he first came out, his nickname was Skateboard P. Pharrell, right?
Okay.
The reason why is because he liked skateboarding. So like Rockstar.
Oh yeah.
Remember that?
Remember
He would dress like an emo kid.
Yeah.
But he'd be rapping, and we were all like, "What?" But he was speaking. The reason why he was so legendary is because he was speaking honestly about what it is he liked and he did. You know.
Yeah.
And I think like real recognized real. You know, we thought that was unique because we were all like that. We were a bunch of skater kids that like, I do like rap music, but I don't dress like with baggy pants and like I don't shoot things up. But Skateboard P was like not about that. Like Nerd, you know the name Nerd. Big Nerd. His band, it's an acronym for No One Ever Really Dies. He was trying to educate you on stuff that he knew about. That's true rap. That's true hip hop.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. All right. So, any final thoughts? That's why I thought I was so excited about this topic.
What you were saying earlier, so like you didn't, like the whole beats thing was like I was.
Sorry. Just quick pause. The reason why I was so excited about this topic is because, like, obviously, like, you know, like, oh, just another Asian kid listening to like hip hop music, you know, like another Eddie Wong, you know, but like, no, there's a reason why I like this music. Like everything I do is chosen for a specific thing. It's like I'm not like asleep as I make these decisions, and I thought that was important. That's why I thought this podcast was important, because like that is the stereotype. It's like another Asian rap fan.
Yeah.
You know, it's like no, yeah. But I mean, it dealt with the struggle. Like obviously, like Asian people were immigrants, and then like they associated with like that urban culture because they felt like they were disenfranchised too. Yeah, et cetera, et cetera. That's why it became so big within the Asian community. But I'm like, no, I'm not. Like I like other things too. I'm just like explaining why I like hip hop music. All right, what were you gonna say?
No, I mean, no. Did we already mention that? Like the whole beats thing and how I was more focused on that. That's why I followed in whichever. Like so, like for instance, like it started with Dre from like Eminem's album was all Dre stuff, right? And when Eminem made his own beats, I would look for his stuff that he had made. Right.
I find that really cool. Like I didn't even think, like only now did I like find out about this, because I was all about lyricists, right? I had no idea. Like I didn't even think about the beat portion of it, but like it's opened up a whole new world for me to explore. It's like, oh, now I can go find out. Oh, I didn't know you produced this. I didn't know you produced this.
Right.
And then you just find a bunch of music that you like because you're like, oh, I actually really like this producer. Yeah. I thought that was cool. Yeah. And then usually producers work with other artists that are like-minded, so it's like
I mean, Dre was the one who found Eminem, right? So then, like, and then whoever he found after that, like they're all like kind of like
Dre influenced a lot of like conscious rappers. Like Kendrick Lamar was influenced heavily by Dre. Yeah. You know, so it's like Dre's got like a crazy roster behind him. He's got Eminem, 50 Cent, Kendrick Lamar, Snoop Dogg.
I mean, he did something. Tupac. The thing with even Eminem is like he was the one that's like he didn't listen to anyone else because it's a white rapper, right? Right. And he broke that stereotype.
That's true. Yeah. You know what's interesting about Dr. Dre and like the Dr. Dre Eminem thing, like the sidekick whole thing. Yeah. That started with Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre. Oh. Yeah, I was listening to the first songs and it was like they were like Batman and Robin. Right. And I had no idea, and then now it's like his new Robin is Eminem. Yeah. You know, and like 50 Cent's Robin is Eminem. Right. You know. Yeah. Like you have that whole like click thing.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. It's quite interesting, actually, that stuff.
And then I really like rappers who like transcend beyond like duality.
Mm-hmm.
So like you have like um like Jay-Z is with Puff Daddy and Puff Daddy's camp, as well as Dr. Dre's camp.
Mm-hmm.
But like, it's like the whole West Coast East Coast thing, right?
Yeah.
The feud. But like, I like those rappers that are like in the middle, like Jay-Z. Like he's like, no man, I'm from New York. It's like, I like,
Right.
I like roll with both of you, because he's got songs with both camps. You know. I think that's important. It's like just work with people who are talented.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of history to hip hop.
Yeah. There's a lot of like, I heard this. I thought this is pretty true. It's like, when you think of like the mafia,
Mm-hmm.
hip hop culture, gangster rap transcended the mafia. Because we used to talk about the mafia and like, oh yeah, they're in the movies and stuff,
Yeah.
right? And they're like a big organized crime. But it's like, if you actually look at the influence of like rap music
Mm-hmm.
in businesses, you know, there's
Right.
like record labels, right? And then like from the record labels, you go into like more legitimate businesses. Like Nick Cannon is the creative director, I think, of The Source,
Okay. Yeah.
right? I think it was The Source, or is it like Radio Shack? Radio Shack.
Oh.
Yeah, creative director, but he doesn't talk about it. He makes a lot of money doing that, but he doesn't talk about it because it's like, it's not in line with the whole like hip hop rap culture.
Mm-hmm.
But he's like, no, you gotta like diversify your income and stuff. You gotta make smart money moves.
Right. Interesting.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, cool topic. So we're gonna check out Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. We're gonna peer into that world. I'm hearing a lot of good things about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's Vish's birthday Wednesday.
Oh, okay.
Happy birthday!
Yeah.
33. That's when Jesus died.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And there's a lot of people that 33 is like an important time. Buddha, he was like 30 or something like that. I don't know. 30 is a good year for being woke, apparently.
Or dying?
Or dying. Yeah. Or becoming like a legend, because Buddha was like around 33.
Right.
Jesus was 33 when he died,
Right.
if he existed.
Right.
Yeah. So it's a good year. All right. Till next time. Take it easy.
Later.